Well, it's around that time right here on KAZ Radio, where I have a brand new show, none other than Pause, or The Pause, putting myself first with Robyn and Honey. Take it away, Pause.
Hello, and thank you for welcoming us into your homes this evening. This is our first show, honey.
First show, Robyn.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We've been talking about doing this for a good while now.
Yep.
A good while. So let me introduce myself. I'm Robyn Hill. I'm a mental health therapist. I've been in private practice for, I think it's been about 12 years, since 2000, well, not 10, 11 years, 2011 when I started. I've been in practice since forever, practicing everywhere. And I do a few other things, wrote some books, director of the agency, a few other little things I do too. So that's my passion, healing. Got a master's at Ashland Theological Seminary. So that's just a little about me. You want to give a little about yourself, honey?
Yeah, I am Honey Bell Bay. I am the poet laureate of Cuyahoga County, and people always ask, what in the world is a laureate? But that's kind of like the official poet for the city. And as we take a pause and we come to you on Mondays, one of the things I find myself I'm going to work on, when I do my bio, I always shorten it. I say I'm Honey, I'm a poet, and that's it. But I think when God has blessed you, it's all right to say exactly all that God has done through. That is okay. And so I'm an educator, I'm a teacher, I'm a writer. But most importantly, I'm a servant who's on the journey of healing as I help others heal. That's who I am in a nutshell.
I like that. Yeah, I do. I do think that you and I both, we do try to truncate what we do a lot.
Yeah.
And we're not very braggadocious, but we've done a whole lot.
Yeah.
A whole lot. And we continue to do a whole lot, which is how this show kind of has been birthed. Is to take a pause in the middle of all the chaos of what we do and make sure we're taking care of ourselves.
Yes.
We'll sit on the phone and pause in the middle of our day, and next thing you know, an hour has gone past that we really didn't have time for, but we needed to take an hour and just and laugh and cry and get some stuff off our chest. And so it is quite a time of inspiration. So we decided to share it with y'all. So we're going to do that every Monday at 7 o'clock.
Every Monday.
And we're going to try to engage with you all in the comments of, I think we're on Facebook and YouTube. So throughout the week, if we see the comments, we'll engage with you. And we'll try to bring some of that conversation back the next week. So before we get into that, I do want to make an announcement. One of the many things that I am a part of, I am one of the founders of the Professional Black Christian Therapist Network. And so we have a conference coming up. If you are a therapist, if you're a clergy, we definitely want clergy there. If you're a therapist, we have CEUs. If you're not, you just want to come, we have a conference called Empowering Culturally Diverse Therapists During the Pandemic. So even if you're a helper, this would be a good thing for you as well to come out and just learn how to be in the presence of people and how to heal in this time that we're in right now. And so it's on Saturday, December 4th, 2021. The registration info is on our website, Professional Black Christian Therapist Network.org. I think it's the full website. If not, just Google PBCTN, and you'll get taken to the conference page. We have several workshops. I'm presenting at 2 of them. One is about dealing with the stigma of counseling within the Black community as well as in the Black church. And another workshop I'm working on is incorporating faith into therapy, the ethics of all that. So I'm on a panel with a few therapists working on those workshops. There's also how to build a private practice. There's the finances of that, the ethics of that, and all that. We have all kinds of workshops. So check out the website. Registration information and all that is there. So that's my announcement for today.
Thank you. Exciting stuff.
Yes. All right. Now get into our discussion today. It is Thanksgiving.
You cooking? I do not know. Usually my sister and I do something exciting. We use the holidays to do something non-traditional. We've gone to the Macy's Day Parade and had corn dogs. We've gone to Disney and had alligator.
Really?
So we always do something crazy.
Alligator.
Yeah, alligator for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So turkey is never typically on our menu.
Oh.
So I'm still debating. I've gotten some Cornish hens because it's just the two of us. A whole turkey just seems wasteful.
Okay.
So if I decide to cook, it'll be light like
What's
that.
Disney like at Thanksgiving?
Light actually. It was
Really?
very light. It was not like the Macy's Day Parade, of course. So I think, getting into our subject, I'll jump right in there. For me, it was about reclaiming the holiday for my own.
Okay.
Sometimes people are so stressed out at the holiday that it becomes natural to just live in that stress. Like, oh, my mother passed around the holidays, so I'll never celebrate it again. Or, oh, I don't have children, so I'll never be happy at Christmas. So for me, and I just think it's like one of my life pieces, I reclaim anything that tried to claim me.
Right.
If you try to get me, I'm going to get you back.
Right.
And so the holidays at one point tried to get me. So I always get the holiday. I get it with some type of fun or something outside of the box.
That's interesting because I think a lot of people do get stuck with, especially like with dealing with loss, and when it'll never be the same, and so they just don't know how to move forward. Like, what would you suggest? Because I know what I suggest for people, and I know what I did when the holidays changed. When I grew up, it was always about family gatherings, big, giant family gatherings. I mean, my mom would find the humongous, just gigantic, right? How the most is biggest is turkey. I don't know how, and then like the most biggest is ham, and I mean everybody, both sides of the family, and then every family friend of the neighborhood, no discrimination, would come. And when I say no discrimination, if it was somebody who might have been down and out on something. Yeah. They can come and get a plate. That's just what holidays meant. And so after my divorce and my ex was taking the kids to his family and I was in the house with no kids and then eventually like my sister moved away, it was like, well, who am I cook for?
Yeah.
So that was tough. That transition of I did not have a house full of people. My mom was older and she wasn't cooking. Nobody was like,
yeah,
that was tough.
So I think, like, for me, first thing is, like, I always tell people, first, you got to own and acknowledge your pain. Like, you got a right to feel how you feel. So I'm not telling people in this real false sense of grief, don't hurt when you hurt. But I am saying in that healthy form of grieving, to have an end point and a plan past that. So for me, I don't have those memories. Like, I don't have a memory in the kitchen with a parent, like, ever. I was trying to do that the other day. Do you ever remember cooking anything in the kitchen? I don't. And so how do I reclaim that? Do I sit and just say, oh, man, ain't no family table. I don't remember having a Thanksgiving dinner like that, not one. So I create my own stuff. In the morning, I literally, right now, when I leave here, I have about 100 sweet potatoes that were already boiled and getting ready because we have a pie making contest with my kids, with my students.
Oh, wow.
So I reclaim it. We're making humongous, it'll be tables full of pies tomorrow. So how can I sit and still have the memory of not having a memory when I recreate the memory with a bunch of little people?
The thing that amazes me is that where does this come from?
Yeah.
For you, like, okay, I want to get like super personal on our first
No,
radio
that's
show.
okay.
But
Real show, let's go there. Let's get it on in.
Like, you summon that from somewhere. So to not have had the memory, but to be able to produce it for the kids that you work with. Yeah. Where does this come from? It's got to be coming from somewhere.
So I can definitely be honest with you, Robyn. The grave brokenness in the non-memories or the bad memories, they were like killing me. I really have an option. Either you put something in the place of this or you just rolling over and die, girl. It was too bad. I have a choice. To live in that level of darkness was just eating my soul. And so I had to just make it and fake it. In my cooking class, these people that was craziness, they really think I can cook.
But you can. That's like, where this come from? Who told you how to boil a sweet potato? Because when you talk to these young girls who ain't been raised, so they don't know how to boil nothing. Right.
It's funny, but I'm learning with them, and they don't know it. But one thing for sure, we talk about kids and holidays and people in general, is that you resilient. You ain't gonna stay in that madness. I create what I want my Thanksgiving table to look like from here, and every holiday and every table. I create my destiny. I create my world. I mean, not, and that isn't in some monastic, outside of God way. I'm saying the space around me, I have power over it. I don't have power over my childhood, none. It happened. You have no power over it.
To me, I just think it's something deeper, more spiritual.
Give it to me. Hit me.
I don't know. It's got to be some. You know, when they say like, you know, we often talk about generational curses, but there's also generational blessings. Somebody was praying generations ago for you, and somebody was pouring something into you generations ago. So even though you didn't get something from in this lifetime when you were growing up, somebody was praying. Because how could you know? How can you pour out something that was never there? It's there. It's coming from somewhere.
Look,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. You taking
I'm
me somewhere.
doing
You
it.
taking
I'm
me
doing
somewhere.
it. See, this is what I do.
So look,
This is the phone conversations. I'm sorry.
right,
But this is
right.
This I'm saying it's got to be coming from. It can't be coming from nowhere.
But what it reminds me of, and I ain't gonna say I got a song in my heart, but I got to do have a little one, so I might give a little piece of it. But when I was in Ghana last, and I was in Cape Coast at the castles, and I knew I wanted some private time. You're at the area where the slaves left, the west coast of Africa, coming to the United States, and I was wishing my group would go away. And just, by grace or God hearing me, they did. They went away. And it was just me in this cave. And I've been hearing all the stories of this particular cave that I was in. And you see the walls and the limestone. And so I was singing, not necessarily to the walls or to my ancestors, but what I was singing was, walk with me, Lord, walk with me. Walk with me, Lord, walk with me. And in that moment, it was as if, I'm serious, it was almost out of body. It was as if I was praying what my ancestors would have been praying. So my prayer at that moment, all the way in West Africa, was whatever during the Middle Passage my ancestors survived to bring me here. To your point, some Brazilians of their prayer, God is still be in me. It has to be in me. And I thank God in that moment and really enjoyed that journey to Africa more than any, because it was a connection I hadn't felt right there in that cave. It was, and everybody was like, where'd the honey go? I was just in this cave, just singing. In this cave, just singing.
See, there is something to it. I'm telling you, because I done seen some people try to cook something with some sweet, they just don't. You cook like you've been in the kitchen with your grandma.
Oh, thank you.
I
try. I have a twin sister, Sugar, be looking at me like, ain't nobody eating no slop now. You better figure it out or order something to eat. So, I figure it out.
I know.
Sugar is the boss. We had to have Sugar on one of these shows. Sugar definitely run things. Sugar the good twin. I'm the honey twin,
Aw.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is tough with the holidays, and it took me a minute to figure out how to get into my own groove with the holidays. And once I gave up the should, what we say in counseling, you're shooting all over yourselves. When you give up the shoulds, those expectations of what should be, and allow what is to be, or create your own be.
Create your own.
Then you can be all right.
Yeah.
When I gave up the should. So what I started doing was Thanksgiving breakfast with my kids. And so I would cook the ham. And then I would cook, my grandmother used to make this corn with the confetti in it, the Mexican corn with the peppers and onions and stuff in it. And so my house would smell like Thanksgiving. And I would just do eggs, and I would make, my son had all his food allergies, so I'd make these apple baked thing for him and some fried potatoes for him. And so he couldn't have the eggs. And then I would make some for me, because I want to try the shrimp and grits dressing, which is really good. And so I would make that for my dinner. So after I did the breakfast, I make some, I think I make some turkey sausage or something too. So we had the ham, the turkey sausage or whatever. The breakfast stuff, biscuits, they would go. And then I would have the rest of the ham and the shrimp and grits dressing and the corn, because it smelled like Thanksgiving in my house, for dinner. And then if I felt like going to somebody's house for dessert, I'll go. If I didn't feel like it, I have my glass of wine. And I was watching movies, and I was okay because I let go of the should.
Right.
I had the smell of Thanksgiving in my house.
Right.
My kids had breakfast, and they could go. And I didn't have a whole lot of dishes to clean.
Yeah.
But as long as I was holding on to Thanksgiving should be a house full of people. Thanksgiving should be a turkey with dressing and yams and mac and cheese, and I was going to be sad.
Yeah.
And, but once I let that go, it only took me 1 year, let it go.
Yeah.
And I was okay.
Yeah, I just think, to your point, the ham in the morning, all those great dishes you name, as a family, we have the right to create our own coat of, not just our own coat of arms and code of ethics, we have the right to create our own traditions. What works for you, even what foods work for you. And the traditional, I didn't call it dry, but the traditional turkey, I don't need all that. It's just extra. It's not what I would eat. I don't want to have that big bird sitting trying to figure out 52 different recipes to cook after. After the legs are gone, maybe the wings. You just got a big bird sitting there and this carcass sitting in your refrigerator forever.
Right.
You just don't want that,
Well, see, in my household, we had, as the kids, had to cut up the carcass. My mother didn't believe bones could be in the kitchen, in the refrigerator. So after Thanksgiving, everybody tired. Here, me and my sister's job was to cut all the meat off the bones and everything that night of Thanksgiving. Exhausted.
But do you do stuff like that now?
No.
Would you? Okay.
Sort of. I would cut most of it off, and then I cut or I might get it the next day.
Yeah.
But it was believed that because you didn't want to get sick, you didn't want to, so we try to cut most of it off and bag it up and seal it off, freeze it before things would go bad.
See, I've never heard that the bones could promote sickness or something like that. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
So that would be the first time.
I don't know. That was probably just,
But
some rules that my grandma made up or something, just because she didn't want it to go bad in the kitchen. But yeah, that was the rule. Cut it up, get it all bagged up and frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, up. And then, but usually wasn't that much left because, like I said, we invited everybody under the sun.
Yeah. I think traditions can, evolve too, because now I'm at a point with my sister where I'd like to be able to, okay, we're going to stay home and let's let that evolve and let's see what that tradition look like. No, we're not putting up a tree the day after Thanksgiving like some people do. And I'm jealous of these people who can get their decoration on like that after Thanksgiving or the middle of Thanksgiving. I don't know how y'all get it done. I don't know how you even had a house back together by then. But I think what's most important is that you create the tradition that means something to you. My sister and I, we're artists. So for us, we're not TV people. We're music people and we're artists. So to throw some canvas up, that's weird for some people. These fools sitting here painting on Thanksgiving. Well, not to me. So if we paint and put some music in, that's real. Long as it's authentic to your truth and it heals in your broken spaces, who does it hurt? And so that's all I'm trying to do is recreate spaces that feel, or not recreate, just create. So I own the memory instead of the memory owning me. And for a while it was owning me and it was bad. When trauma owns you, not to just jump on it, but when it owns you like that and you trying to escape it, you looking for all kind of ways to escape it. And I personally was escaping it in some bad ways that I talk about in my memoirs 20 years from now. I just didn't want that for myself anymore. I didn't want it. And so now I don't fear the holidays, but it was a time, especially you looking at those college days when dorms were closed. That was the worst. I hated holidays because people were bragging. At least in my head, they bragging. My mama cooking this. My daddy come to pick me up. Yo, you got a daddy? What? So I hate it on anybody. You even use the word daddy. I got a problem. Yeah. Your daddy coming to the dorm to get your stuff. I got a problem with you. I personally didn't like you for that reason. I was jealous enough reason. She bragging. She hating. They about to cook. They found and don't let you have a daddy and your mama together. What? I was just trying to figure out where you sleeping during the holidays because the dorm's closed.
Oh, wow.
And you many states away. You can't, just how the cookie crumbled.
Yeah.
So imagine that type of trauma, or you eating wherever you eating for Thanksgiving, and now to say I own it and I don't have any residual residue. I had none.
That's amazing.
I feel great.
Yeah.
I'm great. I got a couple days coming off off of work, and I can sit at home and clean and paint with my sister. You know, don't get no better than that.
Yeah.
Make my own rules.
Aw.
Aw.
I wish we'd have went to school together because you'd have been coming home with me.
Yeah.
You'd have been like, I'd be like, this honey, she coming home for dinner. And they'd be like, all right, come on, get a plate. Because I'm telling you, everybody was invited.
And see, no, I wouldn't have came with you because you'd have been one of the people I hated. I would have hated you. I'd be like, and you had a father too? I wouldn't have come with you. I was like, oh, she trying to show out. She got long hair. She got daddy and mama. She thinks she all
That's
that.
back when I had hair.
I wouldn't have cared about the hair. I would have cared that you had a daddy and a mama. I wouldn't have had nothing to do with you. But then some of the residual pieces of that is that it promoted the introvert that I am now. I'm a public figure, but I'm an introvert. So I'm used to being alone. It's a comfortable space. You know, not to really trust people in that space. You know, not to be, you know.
Yeah.
So those are pieces that I thank God, you know, really for his spirit that he uses you despite your trauma. You know, he uses you despite your own situation. Because ain't no way in and of myself, and you hit on it earlier, in and of myself, I could have be this extroverted to the public because I would have just drowned in my own stuff, you know.
But see, I was introverted too.
How so?
I still am. Mm-hmm. You know, but I was very quiet to myself. I was with my little friend group, and that was it.
Yeah.
I didn't step outside of my friend group, but I would have probably drawn to you. I'd have made you my friend.
Yeah, okay, you should. As long as you keep it a secret that you got a daddy, we good. You let that go, I'm done. I gotta play with this girl. Got a daddy. She thinks she all that. You ain't all that.
And he would have been like, tell your friend, honey, come on. You would have still been mad, but you'd have been, come on.
I wouldn't know what to do with that. So
come on.
Yeah.
You'd have been just like,
yeah.
And got in the car.
Yeah.
We going to dinner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's, you know, we was laughing about on the phone about Thanksgiving dinner. You ever been to somebody's house that thought they could cook?
I have.
And they couldn't cook.
Oh. And you know, I think what makes it worse is when the ones who, and I hate to say it because it sounds so mean, who can't, like, they pump it up. So you are, they're like, oh my goodness. You wait till you taste this macaroni. You wait. And I'm sitting there like, down. And I know that everybody have different palates, but some things are just, come on.
I remember we was in a choir at Kent State. Look, I'm about to, we would go to churches. They would have, you know, we would go sing. And then, you know, they would cook for us. And, you know, feed us before we go back home. And, a lot of the churches thought they was throwing down. And when you got to ladle out your dressing.
Oh, talk about it. I'm
still traumatized.
Yeah.
And they just knew the people who went to church, they were just tearing it up like
a soup.
Like,
you're not supposed to be able to slurp dressing. No, dressing is not a slurpable dish. There's some slurpable dishes. Dressing is the one. Now, it's a fine line. Right. Because I don't want to have to cut where I'm about to break my knife in the middle of it either. There's a fine line to it, and it's a science to it.
Right, it is.
I had some
dry dressing before.
Yeah, dry dressing.
Gosh.
And I've had some that's just breadcrumbs with water. You just serve me wet breadcrumbs. Stop it. Stop this. Stop this.
Is it stovetop?
Some people don't like onions. Some people don't like bell pepper, so we didn't put it in there. Okay, well then don't experiment to this degree on Thanksgiving. That's the marathon.
Right.
Thanksgiving is the Olympics, so you come with it, or you practice a couple more years, then you come back. But it's the same concept. I ain't trying to be funny. Same concept with macaroni and cheese. It's just the truth.
It's the truth.
Same thing. You should not be ladling that stuff out. Nor is a fine line between the cuttage of that too. Right. It can't cut like cake and bounce back like a sponge. There is a real there's a real principle to this thing. It's got to have a right consistency.
Yes.
So if you don't know the consistency of it, you got to train for the Olympics. You don't just show up for the Olympics like, here I am. No. For the winter games, the summer games, you got to prepare. And the right at Thanksgiving time is not the time to jump in the game and try to experiment. Right. I know somebody make this Cajun dressing. I'm like, this is the hottest, worstest thing.
What is this?
And what is this? And it's dark.
Ooh.
So that I already tell you, it's just wrong.
And they just think it's
But everybody loves it in the family, so I guess it's their tradition. So I'm like, oh, honey, would you like? Oh, I just want a little because I'm going to another house when I leave here.
Right.
That kind of deal.
Yeah. Just
my
try to
boys.
drown it in some cranberry sauce.
Cranberry sauce covers a whole multitude of sins.
Right, doesn't
Cranberry
it?
sauce will cover it up. So throw some cranberry on it. Woo! But my performing poets, we go to a lot of churches, and my rule for them, and they know it, is you always, because I don't ever want to disrespect the mother, the sister who's worked so hard. So my rep like, oh man, Miss Honey is nasty, it's gross. I was like, first of all, you can say that to me later in the van.
Right.
You're not going to say it and disrespect these mothers who did their best to bless you, and you're going to put something on your plate. It's like, yeah, but we can look at it and tell it's, no, going to put it on your plate, sir, and you're going to, at least it's my rule, you're going to at least sample it in honor of the fact that they did their best to try to make it. My worst example of that is it comes to cooking. It was my first year I was in Jamaica, and I told somebody this story, and I was not eating any meat at that time. I'm still not a big meat eater, so I don't eat pork, I don't eat red meat. I eat very little meat. But we hit a goat, killed it, killed this goat. And so we just driving, we playing with our driver, Pewty was his name, and he's leaning back talking to us, ha 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 ha, killed the goat. And so he's like, oh my God, we've killed this goat. And so I'm looking like, okay, can we move the goat to the side of the road, whatever you're gonna do, let's keep going. And he's like, no, scoot over. I'm like, scoot over. So he threw the goat into the car.
That's dinner. That's good
yes,
cooking.
he said, there's no way you would dishonor the animal. He was crying. There's no way that you would dishonor this animal's life, and it's our fault that he is dead. At least honor him enough to cook him, to eat him. They took him back, curried his butt up, and the freshest meat, clearly, we just killed his behind. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I'm not about to eat this goat. And so then, I don't even eat KFC. I don't even eat Popeyes. I'm not coming over here to eat your goat, man. What's up? And they was telling me, oh, you will dishonor the village. You're going to eat this goat.
Oh, wow.
You're going to eat this goat. So I put enough on my plate to satisfy them. The mothers were sitting there looking because they knew I was already like tripped out by the whole scene. I didn't really slaughter this thing, but I understood the concept. He gave his life.
Right.
And so, I mean, I could take that somewhere and probably preach it a little bit. But he gave his life. The least I can do, since he has sacrificed his life on my own behalf. If we hadn't been playing around, we would have saw him. And that's how they honor animals there.
Oh, wow.
But we had to eat him.
Wow.
I had to eat him too. I was not a happy camper, but I ate him out of respect for the village I was in.
Well, I don't got a goat story. But I got a story. I ain't going to say what family it was because I don't want to put this particular family out there. But there was a time I went to a Thanksgiving, and I think they used the chitlin spoon to stir the greens.
You told me this madness.
Yes. It had to, because something didn't taste right with the greens and the I think it also might have went into the dressing. I don't know. Maybe it was just me because I could just smell the chitlins, whatever. I don't know.
That's not nice. That's not a good scene.
Something didn't everything just tasted funny. And everybody else was eating like wasn't nothing funny. But the folks who wasn't from there. The ones who wasn't from there was like, this food ain't right. Something ain't right. And it just makes me think how sometimes when you used to something, you can't tell when something's wrong.
Let that sink in a little bit.
Simmer on that for a minute.
Let that just simmer for a minute. Don't you see the bubbles on top of that pot? Ooh.
Percolate that.
When you used to something, you can't even tell when something is wrong.
Jennifer Lewis, the mother from Blackish.
Yes.
She said on her thing, sometimes when you sit and poop too long, I changed the language, Reverend. When you sit and poop too long, it stops stinking. So come up from there. And I think sometimes when we don't realize with trauma, as you were talking about earlier, and other family stuff, we don't realize the mess that we put up with and deal with in our own families. And so we get used to just runny dressing and chitlin juice and cakey mac and cheese and whatever other mess is in our households. And we don't realize that's not normal.
Yeah.
It's not normal. And so we get ready for these holiday times. We don't realize the emotions that's coming out with different people. We talk about Thanksgiving and it's coming up and everybody's talking about the food, and we don't realize the mixed emotions that's coming out of different people right now. Everybody ain't happy. Everybody's not looking forward to these times. It doesn't bring up positive memories, as you was just saying. You know, everybody would get ready for the breaks, and for you it was not like, yay, I'm getting ready to go home for Thanksgiving. It wasn't those times for you because it was not a pleasant thing. But how many of us are just sitting around eating chitlin juice on our greens and thinking nothing of it because we're so used to poop.
Yeah.
And we're so used to not nothing against the folks who like their chitlins, you know, that's what y'all like to eat, that's what you like to eat, but sometimes you don't know something's not normal.
And what's even worse, not only do you not know it's not normal, you don't even recognize that you serving it up to somebody else. You don't even know that you infecting somebody else with your negativity, your gangrene type behavior, your cantankerous moods, because you are.
Right.
Like we have certain things in our house, like you need a timeout, you need a pass, like you can do that. You're not gonna make everybody else tripping out because you tripping out. And sometimes I need to tell myself, yeah, you should just relax.
Right.
Because you're mad about something else. Just relax. So you're not taking it out on somebody else.
Right.
You don't even recognize you serving other people your drama. In your head, you serving people good food. In my head, this is not good food. Not good by the long. It's kind of like, and I know there's probably some pet lovers out there, so I'm just not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good. But it's kind of like 99.99999 people who own a cat, you know it when you hit the door. And 99.999 people who own the cat say the same thing. I'm one of those cat owners and you don't smell anything.
Yes.
I was like, oh, you're immune. That's what it is. You are totally immune.
Right.
Cat, just a whole cat essence in your house is you just pretty much know it. I'm just saying. Nothing against, little kitty and fluffy and all that. I'm just saying you pretty much know it. But if you sit in that environment so long, it's just your norm. It's just part of your space. So you don't even
know it's there anymore.
You don't even know it's there. You don't know what other people are seeing, other people are smelling. So, but at the same time, when you pause for your own reflection, it's one of mine. As like a community servant, on the battlefield, I'm constantly, let me check myself so I don't infect people. I don't want the stain of my own drama, trauma, past issues to ever, especially when I deal with the minds of young people or vulnerable populations. I don't want anything to come through me to stain them.
Right.
So I'm cautious intentionally. Now, some of that, since you can't smell it yourself, comes down to what you were talking about with your conference at the top of the hour. You got to have to get somebody else who can smell it. So if you can't smell it, you need some trained people who can say, I smell your stuff. I smell your feces. Let me tell you your emotional feces, and let me tell you what it looked like.
Right.
Now that's bold and that's painful, and that takes some work. Because who want to look at their stuff like that? Nobody.
Right. Because it oozes out everywhere.
Right.
It's coming out, and people, I see it all the time. Like, you just scroll through social media and you see people thinking they're being encouraging, and they really just wrapping up their mess in scriptures and cliche-ish epithets and stuff, and it's really just their stuff. They're trying to baptize it in something and make it look positive, but it's just their stuff, and it's just oozing out.
Yeah.
And they can't tell that they're smelling.
Yeah.
That they really got chitlin juice on themselves.
Yeah.
It's become their norm. The negativity has become their norm, that they can't even see it anymore.
Usually tell her, you can only go so far with trying to cover up a smell, no matter what that smell is. Your grandmother used to tell the little boys running around the house, you are not just gonna put deodorant over funk. You are gonna wash your behind, and then ain't so far you could try to cover that up and it don't tell on you. At some point you gotta be vulnerable enough to get real with somebody to
Yeah.
thine own self be true. And I pray that that's who I always am. I check myself.
Yeah.
Good, bad, and indifferent. And when I'm wrong, I know how to, through the help of me, or I have people who help keep me on course so I can reroute. I can reroute my direction for the number one reason. First, I do want to be healthy to the people I serve. But, what's the point of this journey if I'm not healthy for me too?
Right.
And that's the side of the journey I'm on now. I did that backwards.
Yeah.
Now I'm on okay, honey, you've done all this service to people. It's time for you to pause to do some service for you.
Right.
And that was a backwards out. It took me, that was a long time coming. It's been a long.
Yeah.
It was a long time coming to get there, but I'm there.
The service for others. Let me take a pause on that. Because it took me a minute to realize, the service for others. Where I want to go with this. Not that I wasn't doing it for others, because I was. But to be able to take my hands off of it and realize that it's all in God's hands and I don't have to. That I could step away and take a break and take care of myself. And know that God's got it and his children are okay. And it's not my responsibility. It was hard, and it was a relief at the same time. It was hard because so much of my identity was wrapped up in my service. And what is the there's a quote I use. I'm not even prepared to bring it. I don't have it right now, but I use it when I'm working with people in ministry a lot in my office. I haven't pulled it out in a while, but it talks about whether or not your service is for, but God wants he wants you, not just your service, basically. And sometimes we get caught up in just giving our service and getting lost in it. And and so being able to take a few years to rest, and having to take that few years to rest because my body shut down, basically. People don't even realize it. When I say I hit that wall of exhaustion, I ain't lying. I mean, my hair falling out and everything, exhaustion. And having to stop and just reevaluate everything that I'm doing, and only moving when God say move. And it took a lot because my whole identity was in certain things. And so stepping away from service was hard. Stepping away from serving in the ways that I wanted to serve and the way I wanted to do things was very hard, because I felt like, well, then who will I be? What will I do?
Yeah.
And God was just saying, don't worry about it. I got it. Don't worry about it. Do nothing. Go be. Just go be.
Yeah.
And these are my children. I will take care of all that. I will heal these people. I will serve, and I will put people in that place. Are you okay with God putting someone else in your place to take care of these people? Is it about you, or is it about the people?
Yeah.
And that was a thing I had to go through in my own journey. And I think a lot of times that's not a conversation that we have. I know this is off of what we've been talking about this whole time, but that's just what the journey I went through to getting to this point of pause, this show. I had a whole radio station, and my whole vision was I'm gonna build the station up and help these other people get their platforms, and no, God was like, no.
Yeah.
Take that identity away. They'll get where they're gonna go, where they're gonna get, how they're gonna get there, and you're not gonna help these people, and blah blah. It was just, it was an eye-opening moment of me just, all right, I'll give it all back to you. Even going back to work this year and reducing my private practice down to the bare minimum, that was difficult, but there's a bigger thing in the end. And obedience is better than sacrifice. And I know that God has whatever he has for me is greater. And being rested is much greater.
Yeah. I'm in that transition spot now where, it's not that God is calling me not to serve. It's calling me to serve differently.
Right.
And it is a painful reality that I got to step away from some things that I love.
Yeah.
Some things that have been a part of me for years and a part of what I do and how I do it. But the glory on my life and the glory that God wants to get from my life cannot come out in this form. Number one, I'm not tired as in you can go to sleep and it's going to be over. I am tired.
Yeah.
Like in a state of being tired. And that 7-day a week, for me, grind, it's just not healthy. And that's not what he's called me to do. So trying to rearrange that, you're not going to make everybody happy in that space. And I don't care. I mean, that took a long time for me to get there, for me to be able to say, this is not about pleasing someone else. This past weekend, I missed some things that people had invited me to that were relevant. They were important. They were good things. I just couldn't. And this wasn't some big revelation that I was spiritual. I am pausing to rest. And my body said, look, did you forget about us? We're done.
Yeah.
We're not going with you. Yeah, you can go, but we ain't going with you. So you figure that out. So,
Right.
So I'm like, okay, then this is what we're going to do. And I just sat in that chair and that's what I did. That's unheard of. I tried to sit back and think, when was the last time you did that on a Saturday? A Saturday? No, I'm at some program. I'm speaking. I'm doing. I'm being. I'm all of these things. But the more I recognize I'm pouring or think I'm pouring into other people, I'm taking from me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Belle Bay, at some point you got to pause this ship. Number one, to do some maintenance on it, and just to make sure you can't possibly be in tune with God constantly on the go.
Yeah.
That's hard to be able to admit, because man,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fulfilling my mission. I'm out there. I'm in the highways, I'm in the byways. I'm serving people. I'm feeding people. I'm clothing people. I'm doing all of that. I'm ministering through my poetry. I'm alive and bringing life. How am I bringing life to others and I'm killing myself, bringing death to myself? Pause, Belle Bay. And so I've done some things. I have a timeshare in Ghana. I got and set that aside for 2 months. Now, whether I do it or not, I've already paid for it. People are like, there ain't no way you're going to Ghana for 2 months. Maybe not, but at least I open it up so some other people can enjoy the space, since it's already paid for. But at least 2 weeks of them 2 months, I'm definitely going to take up close because I'm so comfortable, in Africa. It's where I'm at peace.
I'm listening. I'm trying to find that Oswald quote about service. I know it's Oswald.
Yeah.
That ain't it, though.
I think that's just a healthy balance. It's just a very healthy balance when you serve. And if you're not careful, you can tilt that balance in the wrong direction. And that's where I am right now, making sure I am completely, like that seesaw we had when we were kids. I'm completely in the balance point of that. So that when we look up, and I used to hate when people said, this is not a practice run. Well, it's not. You're right. It's not. That I've enjoyed the beautiful parts and the beautiful things of life too. And I can say at some point in my service, especially like the first 10 years of my performance group, I performed every single weekend. There was no balance to that, unless I took, my one little annual yearly vacation. And now that's just not healthy at the level of output. Like I was talking about the sweet potato pies. That means when I leave here, I'm still going to prep that. And that's not the only thing I have going on tomorrow. I have pizza and poets. I have, I'm doing probably 4 separate little pizza party and poetry things for kids in preparation for the holidays, their little time off. So just trying to figure out how you have that balance, I think is what we want to tell not just our client, our consumers, because we can tell it to other people fine. How do you do that for yourself? And that's where I'm at. How do I how do I have that balance for me? And I'm happy in it.
Yeah.
If you ain't happy, what's the point?
Oswald Chambers says the greatest competitor of devotion to Jesus it is never do with the Lord, but be, and he will do through you. The only way to keep true to God is by a steady, persistent refusal to be interested in Christian work and to be interested alone in Jesus Christ. That's what Oswald Chambers says. So I think basically just trying to have that balance and to fight the constant do and to be. And I think, that's where we find ourselves, trying to remember to be. be. That's what this pause is really all about. Being. Okay, let me make sure I be. Because it's I think as women especially, it's very easy to get caught up in the doing. We put to-do lists together every day. And then to be in the Western world, we got planners. We create vision boards. That is just the essence of our culture. It's to just have all kinds of checklists and everything to show what we got going on. We are in the what do we call it? The grind system. That's we grind.
Yeah.
We are crushing goals. We are bosses. We are this and that. And
we vision boarding and we working out that vision board too at all costs.
At all costs. And then we revisioning the vision boards. And just every year we just constantly going and going and going, and we just.
And then check it out. Sometimes then we go on vacation, and you don't know how to just be there. Mm-mm. I can't. My best friends and I, we used to, my college buddies, but prior to COVID, we took a vacation every year for the past 15, 20 years. The older we got, though, this whole list, y'all, let's sightsee this, let's see that. We laugh. We went from turn up to let's take a nap till we sleep. We just get in the cabin or wherever we're at. We're all very busy women. We all live in different states. And so most of them are and children. And so we're busy. Mm-hmm. When we get together, we talk and we catch up. We might pray, order some good food, and we sleep. We nap. So we joke. We take a vacation to nap together, to just be. Mm-hmm. All that sightseeing, we're like, If we catch one show or do one thing, that's good enough. And that don't make us old. That makes us more conscious of our own wellness and what the time means, and running around on vacation from spot to spot. My vacations used to be like this. Man. You never spend any trying to do and see every single thing in the city or country or wherever you were. And I don't do that anymore. Man, I just want to enjoy
I just went to that weekend in New Orleans with my sister, and it was her birthday, so I wanted her to have. We had to spend one day kicking in New Orleans. We flew down that Friday night. We had all day Saturday, and we had to fly back Sunday. So I want to make sure. Now, I got back problems, but I want her to enjoy her Saturday. We was going to get up and paint the town red.
Yeah. Whew. You were in pain. Ooh. You were in pain.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And trying to pretend like I wasn't so that she could enjoy herself. Oh, my gosh. I got back. Now, mind you, we had to wear masks all day. So, of course, I'm having an asthma attack on top of in pain. Mm-hmm. So I get back to the condo, had to pop every medicine that I got in my purse and take my inhaler. Like, I feel like the biggest old lady in the world.
That's funny.
Trying to hang in New Orleans down on Frenchman Street. That was, that was rough.
With Sugar and I, we used to have a little cabin around the corner, and I called it our cabin. It wasn't our cabin, but the same kind of timeshare situation, just 45 minutes away. And when I tell you the price, Amish built log cabin, beautiful, beautiful. You've seen me record and take pictures in there. Gorgeous. Well, they sold the place. And so our little getaway place no longer exists. That little place that we were paying for the whole cabin, less than $100 a night, much less, like half of that, sold. And so now that's my excuse not to have a getaway. And so when I was kind of dealing with God with that, and as much as I like nature, I like the perfect balance of nature, though. I want to be in nature, but close enough to a city. Don't have me so deep that I got to drive 4 hours or even 8 hours. Be right around the corner with some lights, a camera, and some action so I can get to safety. God is really dealing with, honey, as much as you like the woods and the wilderness, just buy you a cabin. How can that be the reason that you don't have the respite that you need? Again, that goes right back to that Thanksgiving dinner. I just believe if it's not what you want, you create it. You create it. I had this one little short life to live, and if I'm at the right now with the 4 in front of my age, I'm close to the halfway point of this journey. I am not going to spend the rest of it talking about what I don't have.
Right.
I'm going to figure out how I'm going to get what it is I don't have. And I'm definitely not going to spend the rest of it crying about what happened then because it's too painful.
Yeah.
I just can't stay there. When you asked that, it was killing me. And I mean it literally killing me. I can't stay there. So I got to find a new way to recreate. And maybe that's why I like to paint. I take that blank canvas. It is nothing in the world for me outside of writing and spitting poetry, of course. To take a blank canvas and you see it go from white to whatever colors you put on it, you rule that every color. Create your own world. I just believe, I don't have no choice but to do that. What else is it? To sit and just, fester in the chitlin juice? No. Right. Like, dump this pot out, start fresh. Right. I can't. I just cannot. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah. Man, you make me think about painting. I ain't painted in 20-something years.
Oh, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. I probably got 52 pieces of canvas at the house, every color paint, every style of brush. We can start a Thanksgiving paint night. Come on now. Oh, you won't even be here.
I'll be in North Carolina.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We can paint when you get back, though. Don't start nothing. I love to paint. Love to paint.
Oh, yeah, we want to do that. Ooh.
Not in the style of Basquiat. No rhyme or reason, just whatever you feel. If it feels good, just paint it. Just color it. Color your own world.
Okay. We might have to have these pause night outs or something on these days.
That's nice. Oh. That's nice. Y'all heard that right. We're going to have some pause nights out. And we're going to invite some other people to come join us in this pause. And you're going to take a pause too. And we're going to make sure you tell other people to tune in. Here some nights we may have some, we may even invite some other people in. We're going to have some poetry some nights because I'm a poet. Yeah. We may paint something live in the studio. You may call in and say or text in and say, I triple dare you to paint a picture of this, and I'll paint it right here in the show and be done with it. You can pick it up by the end of the show, just like that. But we're going to have some fun.
Yes. I already had someone wants to come and tell their story on the show. They already let me know. He wants to tell his struggle. He's a singer, but he wants to tell his story. But we don't want it to be I want to make sure that when we tell stories here, that it's a story of healing. It's a story of victory. I don't want it to be a sharing of pain on this show. Yeah. We have to share stories of victory. So, but yeah, he wants to come on and to share his story. And so we'll see. We got some people who probably want to come through and party with us sometimes. And pause with us. Yeah. So
take the pause. It's a pause party. And in that pause, I love what you said. It happened to you, but you are not it. I am not what happened to me. It does not define me. It just happened. It happened. I can't control it. But if I tell it, I like how you said that, anything I tell, I have the victory over. So if I don't talk about it, I can't talk about it yet. I'm working on it. Right. If you know about it and I don't talk about it, keep it to yourself. I'm coming. I'm working on it. I'm still working on it. But anything I talk about, I'm actively working and walking in that healing. Yeah. I'm not festering in that chitlin juice. And I've never had a chitlin, but the way you described them greens of that chitlin juice, I don't think I ever want to experiment with that.
No. It's so sad if you don't know when your food not good. It's just not a good experience. Yeah. That's just not good.
I hope everybody out there has a fantastic Thanksgiving holiday. That you do something that feeds your soul, not just your belly. That you do something that feeds your spirit and your family spirit. And you look back and you create new traditions. Right. Anything that was simmering in the kitchen of your emotions, the kitchen of your soul, change it. Acknowledge it. Do the work. You got to do the work. Do the work to heal it and then rewrite the narrative.
Yes.
Rewrite it.
Create something new. If you're not doing a family dinner, do something. Yeah. But do not sit in the past. Yeah. Yeah. Not sitting in the past. We're going to do something new this year. We're going to enjoy the time. So I think that's our time.
That's our time. About our time.
So we will be back next week. We're going to be on time for our time next week. And so thank you all for being with us. This is Robyn and Honey. This is Pause. See you next week on KAZRadioTV.com. All right, KAZRadioTV.com.
Adios.